This is my review of the Rival RS1 Pro Sparring gloves. Now, I did own the Velcro version of these gloves, and I used them pretty much every day for about, it must have been 18 months, 2 years. And I found them to be good gloves. I can't say I looked after them as well as I maybe should have. And as a result, there was a durability issue where the Velcro area is attached to the wrist. It ended up splitting right there. So I had to throw those gloves out. But with these lace-up versions, right out of the box, you can tell that they are higher quality than the Velcro versions of the glove. I'm not sure why that is, but the leather on these lace-ups appears to be better than the Velcro version, and the shape of the glove appears to be slightly different. The Velcro version are more top-heavy, whereas these gloves are more balanced. Your fist position in the lace-ups is better, and yeah, they just feel like an all-round better glove, and they are more expensive than the Velcro versions as well, which, you know, kind of reflects that difference in quality. But again, not to say the Velcro versions are bad, but the lace-ups are definitely better. A lot of top professionals use these particular sparring gloves or have used them in the past, from Anthony Joshua to Carl Froch, Keith Thurman. Countless top professionals have used this particular brand and model of glove, the RS1 Pro Sparring. Now, to go through the key features of these gloves and the things I like about them and the things I don't. First of all, as you can see, the laces of these gloves go through what they call an ergo lace track system. And to me, this is the best lace track system I've actually seen on a pair of boxing gloves. You know, I do like the way the laces have a defined track that you can put them through when, your trainer or whoever it is tying your gloves up, is, tightening them up and putting them on for you. So I do like the lace track system. Anybody who has brittle hands, you're going to love these gloves because the padding on this particular model is very thick and it's quite dense padding. Okay, Rival tend to use quite dense, quite stiff padding in most of their gloves. And the RS1s, same thing. It is quite dense padding. For me personally, particularly, if I'm going to give advice to anybody who's a serious puncher, I'm not talking about someone who's got a decent bit of power. I'm talking about someone who's a serious puncher. I would recommend these kind of gloves to minimize any kind of hand injuries that you might incur in sparring. Obviously, you're going to be wrapping your hands anyway, but particularly if you're a real serious puncher and maybe you're a heavyweight, these would be good gloves to go for, in my opinion, or at least good gloves to check out, because it's not just about protection. Your gloves you have to feel comfortable in the gloves that you're wearing, and they have to tick several different boxes for you. But the protection that they offer is, as far as I'm concerned, top notch and second to none. I mean, the padding is maybe 2.5 inches thick. This particular pair of gloves is 18 ounce. So you can see there, it's got 18 ounce on the side. I personally think these gloves are quite, nice looking. I'm not someone who is overly fussy about the aesthetics of a glove. I'm more concerned about the functionality. So I want gloves to be protective. I want them to be ergonomic so they're comfortable. I want them to be durable. And after all that, then I want them to be aesthetically pleasing. So for me, the aesthetics are not the top priority when I'm choosing a pair of boxing gloves. But as I say, I like the angled lace track, ergo lace system, whatever they want to call it. I like the protection that these gloves offer. One thing I will say though, is that the finger compartment of these gloves comes down almost to the lace area, and the padding is quite stiff. And so what that means is that it's not very easy to open your hand with these gloves. I mean, you can do it, but you do have to strain a little bit when you're opening your hand. So some people like to catch shots, and therefore they like to be able to open their hand fully in a pair of sparring gloves so they can catch shots. With these gloves, it's not that easy to do. So do bear that in mind if that's something that you like to do in sparring. But for me personally, I'm not really somebody that catches shots. I prefer to block shots or, move my head, etc. So for me, it wasn't really a deal breaker, the fact that you can't open your hands fully in these gloves. The thumb placement on these gloves is very good. I find it very comfortable. The thumb is maybe slightly on the short side. I've got fairly large hands, and I do find the thumb to be slightly on the short side, but different things annoy different people. And these gloves having a slightly short thumb doesn't particularly bother me. I'm not somebody who ends up with sore thumbs after a session, nothing like that. And again, plenty of heavyweights out there, much bigger guys than me, Anthony Joshua, etc. They wear these gloves, and I'm assuming there's no problem at all because he's been using them for many, many years. And same way for me, the thumb is slightly short. I've worn gloves with longer thumbs than this, but they're still fine. It doesn't bother me at all. And the fist placement is good. One of the good things about these gloves is that it puts your fist into a natural position, and it makes you feel as though you're punching with your knuckles, okay? Because some gloves, you have to turn your fist over more to make it feel like you're hitting with your knuckles because of the way the glove is constructed. But the way these gloves are constructed, it does put your fist into a natural position. They do have an attached thumb, as you can see there, but it's not like the traditional attached thumb, which is just a small strip of leather. This attached thumb is kind of like a much larger strip of leather that covers almost the entire length of the thumb, or the inside of the thumb. So, you're not going to be gouging anybody's eyes with your thumb in this particular pair of sparring gloves. So I do like that feature as well. The leather quality is good. They did have a noticeable leather smell when I got them brand new. It's not as strong as like a Cleto Reyes or some other premium boxing gloves, but you do notice a leather smell, which is obviously a good thing, because generally the stronger the smell of the leather, at least this is my way of looking at it, the better quality the leather is. Okay, sometimes of course you get gloves like Winning, which don't really have a strong leather smell, but the leather is still very good quality. But generally speaking, when you get a pair of Cleto Reyes or even the rival Guerreros have got a strong leather smell, it's at least my way of looking at it, is an indication that it's a good quality leather that's been used. So these do have a leather smell, but it's not quite as strong as some of the other types of gloves that I've mentioned. The stitching on these gloves isn't the neatest stitching I've ever seen. It's not terrible or anything like that, but when you buy more premium gloves like Cleto Reyes or Winning, Grants, etc., the stitching is neater than you see on these gloves. But it's fine, it's functional, and I'm somebody who cares more about function than aesthetics. So yeah, the stitching is adequate. I haven't had any stitching come loose yet, and these gloves have been used pretty heavily for the best part of a year now. So no stitching has come loose, but right out the box, the stitching doesn't appear to be the neatest stitching you've ever seen, at least not on the palm area of the glove. On the back of the glove and the side of the glove, though, the stitching appears to be, a lot neater. So yeah, the stitching is decent, but not amazing. But as far as the durability of the stitching, I haven't had any issues. And in fact, I haven't had any issues with the durability of any part of this glove so far, with a lot of heavy use. They're definitely holding up a lot better than the Velcro versions of this same glove. Now, as far as the price of these gloves, I believe they're still $159.99. All right, I'll put maybe a screenshot on screen of the latest price from the rival website, but I believe they're $159.99. And personally, I think they're worth that money for me. It all depends on what your particular needs are in a sparring glove. But for me, I personally think that £160 for a pair of gloves of this design and standard is worth it. Okay, but it's up to each individual to decide whether you think it's value for money or not. But overall, I think these are great gloves. They're comfortable. You can make a very good fist. They have I would say, a pretty broken in feel when you first get them. The only thing I would say is that the padding is a little on the stiff side, so you are going to have to use them on the bag, break them in a little bit more. But in terms of being able to make a fist, you can make a great fist right away. They're comfortable right away, but the padding is slightly stiff as it is with most rival gloves. But overall, I think they're a great sparring glove, particularly if you're someone who hits extremely hard. They're going to offer you great, knuckle protection, especially for heavyweights. And, there's plenty of heavyweights I've already mentioned out there who use them, and professional fighters of various different weight divisions who have these as kind of their go-to sparring gloves. And I can see why. From using them now over a year, yeah, I can fully endorse these gloves. And for me, these are actually the best sparring gloves that Rival do. I would actually, for my own personal needs, I would say that these are better than the RFX Guerreros or the RS100s or any of the other sparring gloves they do. For me personally, these are still my favorites. Okay, now I'm going to do another review on the RS100s, and those would have been my favorite sparring gloves that Rival do if it weren't for a couple of critical flaws. So I'll get onto those in a separate video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I can highly recommend these sparring gloves. So yeah, check them out. I always recommend that if you can, go to a store where you can try the gloves on for yourself, because just because I like these gloves, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like them. But, if any of the things I've mentioned in this review are points that you like to consider, then hopefully this review has helped you out. All right. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.